everyone. Welcome to the Dawn Patrol. I'm Cliff Krieger, your host. Eileen Delrossi is going to be phoning in any second now. And, of course, our producer, John McDonough. We're hoping to have Ralph Hogan at 7 o'clock. Weather, it's said it's 16 degrees out. But when I got in the car said it was way up to 19 degrees. We had a little dusting of snow, but no problem. Roads seem okay to me. It's going to go all the way up to 36 degrees and then back down to 23 tonight. We have a polar vortex which is making most of the country below average cold, especially in the northern tier states. So you can thank global warming. We're looking at 2 to 4 inches of snow Sunday evening. We'll see how that all works out. In 1648, which is after the Pilgrims landed, England's Long Parliament passed the vote of no address seized, breaking off negotiations with King Charles I, and thereby setting the scene for the second phase of the English Civil War. And as you know, we were without a king for a while, with Oliver Cromwell as the Lord High Protector. It probably didn't impact people here in Massachusetts very much, but it was a big row over there in England. In 1893, Lauren Thurston, along with the city's Citizens Committee of Public Safety, led the overthrow of the Kingdom of Hawaii and the government of Queen Liliuokalani, and then Hawaii eventually became part of the United States. In 1899, the United States took possession of Wake Island in the Pacific Ocean. Then we had to fight for it in World War II. In 1917, the United States paid Denmark $25 million for the Virgin Islands. So the idea that we could purchase Greenland from Denmark is not totally ahistoric.
Virgin Islands worth every penny. Beautiful place.
Yes.
How much we pay for it?
$25 million. In 1920, on this date, alcohol prohibition began in the United States as the Volstead Act went into effect. We had a constitutional amendment, and then we had the Volstead Act to implement it.
What is the Volstead Act?
It's the act that gave us prohibition, alcohol prohibition.
Should have kept it.
Yeah.
Can you give me anything other than surprise babies and ugly people being able to have a one-night stand? What good comes out of alcohol?
Some people say it tastes good. In 1950, on the other hand, John, because people liked alcohol, we got a lot of corruption in government. In 1950...
Well, speaking of which, Hegseth got quite the dope slapping yesterday about his drinking habits. Carried out of places, carried to his hotel room. How tall is that guy? He's going to have some pretty loyal followers to carry him to his hotel room.
Yep.
He didn't deny it.
Nope.
Do you think he'll make the vote?
Yes.
Understood. Thank you.
But that did remind me of a infamous fitness report supposedly written by a ship's captain in the Royal Navy about his doctor, in which he said, "He uses my ship to carry him from port to port, and my officers to carry him from bar to bar.
What was his job in the Navy?
He was a physician,
An MD?
yes.
Now, you're a retired Air Force, a lifer. Is that a fair thing to say, lifer?
Yeah, that's okay.
Now, did you ever have a drinking person under you that was that bad?
That would do what?
Do you ever have a drinking person that was carried from bar to bar under your command?
Probably.
What do you do with a person like that?
You send them to alcohol rehab.
That's the only thing you can do?
Well, you can give them a bad fitness report and they don't get promoted and then they go out.
Okay.
If they
in
commit an
military
offense, you can court-martial them.
This is all Latin, military Latin. When you use the term, then they go out. What does that, are they kicked out of the Air Force or they just go to another base?
They don't get to, they enlisted, they don't get to re-enlist. Officers, they're discharged.
Okay, so they
If you're
kick,
passed over twice for
so
promotion,
using my back Central Street language, they get kicked out of the Air Force.
yeah.
Okay, what was the, so you send them to rehab, doesn't do any good, then you kick them out or?
Now, there's a process. You give them a couple of bad fitness reports, they don't get promoted, then they leave.
They resign on their own.
No, they get asked to leave.
Ask, and if they decline,
You don't decline.
if they decline, don't be like me. I decline.
Oh, you would be shot.
Okay, can you legally do that?
No, but it works out okay.
Understood. Accident on base. Gotcha.
If you don't,
Eileen Delrossi.
good morning, Eileen.
Good morning, everybody. I'm sorry I'm running a little late. It's been a week.
Yes.
And you got Monday off
Oh, yes. Thank you for that reminder.
and no show Monday.
No show. Oh,
No live
I
show
didn't get-
Monday. I gotta tell all the public, all of our Comcast partners that,
It- It's okay. I've got it in the notes
what's in the notes?
that Monday we're taking off.
Well, you don't think they watch the show, do you?
Yeah.
It's down, it's on the monitor, but it's muted.
All right. So, if you don't make, if you're a first lieutenant and you don't make captain, you're discharged from the Air Force. If you're a captain and you get passed over twice for major, you get discharged.
All right.
If you're a major and you get passed over twice for lieutenant colonel and you're in sanctuary, you can make it to 20 years and you're
That means
retired.
you're in Massachusetts sanctuary. What does sanctuary mean?
In the military, in the promotion system, it means you've got 18 years of service and therefore you're allowed to go to 20 for retirement.
So sanctuary means you can retire.
Yeah.
Thank you for the Air Force Latin lesson.
Well, that's the way life is. All right, 1950, the Great Brinks robbery. 11 thieves stole more than $2 million from an armored car company's office in Boston. In 1961, President Dwight D. Eisenhower delivered a televised farewell address 3 days before leaving office, in which he warned against the accumulation of power by the military-industrial complex, as well as the dangers of massive spending, especially deficit spending. He was going to say military-industrial academic, but he was talked out of it. All right. In 1966, the B-52 collided with a KC-135 tanker over Spain, killing 7 airmen and dropping 3 70-kiloton nuclear bombs near the town of Palermus and another one into the sea. Not good. That was a big cleanup.
Did we recover those bombs?
Yes.
Good. Hey, I thought of you when I saw this, so I clipped it off of Facebook. An interesting diagram from World War II about flying in formation. The importance of flying in formation, how it's a better defense. Have you ever seen something like this? You must have.
I've never seen that diagram, but yes, the Air Force, Army Air Force has finally realized that the mutual support of flying in close formation and therefore someone coming in could get the attention of the guns in several bombers.
Now, this kind of formation, who discovered this? Does anybody get credit? Because it's actually genius how, when I read up a little bit about this, how they fly at different heights, all these 4 B-17s, they fly at a little different height, and so all their weapons can fire at any incoming aircraft. And it says down the bottom here, there's 12 guns shooting at this. This guy's got 2 machine guns on his plane, and he's got 12 guns firing against them. These guys have 52 guns between them. And I was really impressed with this diagram. But, and again, my question is, did anybody get credit for designing this?
Probably Curtis LeMay.
Wow. I think it's his great-grandson is Curtis LeMay in Lowell.
Oh.
He's related, because back when I was a kid, I used to hang around Pawtucketville. A good old friend, Dan Champagne, the late great Dan Champagne, late great Dennis Dunleavy, bunch of other kids. And we used to drive around Pawtucketville, and Curtis was one of my buddies. We used to play a car tag with Curtis, and silly game with our mother's cars, but we had a good time as children. We were like 17, 18.
Yep.
Good time. All in good fun. Curtis, good guy. Best dressed Democrat in the region. Back over to you.
In 2016, President Barack Obama announced the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, which was his nuclear deal with Iran. Yeah, I'm not sure it's going to work out. 1706, Benjamin Franklin was born in Boston. A late teenager, he moved to Philadelphia. He was actually the 6th president of Pennsylvania and died in 1790. I think he was a bit of a rapscallion, but I think very important for our revolution and independence. 1899, Al Capone was born. He lived till 1947. 1927, Eartha Kitt was born, and she lived to 2008. 1931, James Earl Jones, who passed away this year. 1931, Doug Wilder.
James Earl Jones was the voice of Darth Vader.
Yes.
Fantastic voice and fantastic guy to watch. Good actor.
Douglas Wilder was the 66th governor of Virginia.
Who was
And
the 66th governor of Massachusetts?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay. New Hampshire?
No,
66th governor of New Hampshire?
yeah.
We don't know that
But
one
he
either?
was the first, he was the first black governor of Virginia.
Well, who's the first black governor of Massachusetts?
I'll bite who?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Barack Obama. Don't know. This
What's
is
it
from
say?
John Curtis, who absolutely despises incoming President Trump. And I'll say this to my friend John. Ha ha!
So what does John Curtis say?
Oh, he doesn't want money to happen. He'll be down there protesting. John, are you going to break into the Capitol building protesting that day? You're going to be there with flags, I hate Trump, on the sidewalk? His text says, so I guess my appearance on the show Monday is canceled. Yeah. I didn't even look to see if we had guests coming Monday. Such a thing to say about Trump on inauguration. Has such nice things to say about. So, John, you're now free to take flight to Washington and stand on the sidelines and shoot your spitballs at President Trump, incoming President Trump. And I'll look at the guests for Monday. Thanks for reminding me, John. I forgot about looking for guests on Monday.
In 1954, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Was born. And in 1964, Michelle Obama was born.
Hey, do you think she's healthy? Because she skipped. I know she's saying she's not coming because she didn't want to sit near incoming President Trump at Carter's funeral. I hope she's okay. Do you think it's just a fog that she's putting out, that she's really not as healthy as you think?
No, I don't think so.
Democrat never misses a good party.
Yeah. And on this day in 1893, Rutherford B. Hayes passed away. He was the 19th President of the United States. And as John says, Monday's Martin Luther King birthday and the inauguration of Donald Trump. There'll be no show.
Yeah, John Curtis is on that day. Son of a gun. Let me look at them. See if I can move to next Monday.
So flags will be flying Monday at full staff
Yep.
in Texas and on Capitol Hill, and then they'll return to half staff in commemoration of the passing of President Carter.
Trying to find a place when John Curtis can come.
So what are you going to do on Monday, Eileen?
Did you ask me that? What am I going to do on Monday?
Yeah.
Sleep in. That's as far as I got so far. And watch the inauguration.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, what do you want to do? Sleep. Yeah, Anthony wants to sleep too.
I understand.
I want a rainy day. A rainy day.
Snow.
Well, we're going to have like 6 inches of snow.
Yeah, we're looking at snow.
Cars were covered with snow this morning.
Yep.
What is the weather supposed to be for the inauguration day?
Snow.
Snow.
For us, it's snow. I can remember Kennedy's inauguration. The weather was so bad that the airplane I was on was not able to land in Washington, and we ended up in Kentucky. So,
That explains an awfully lot about you, Cliff.
okay.
Supposed to go to Washington, ended up in Kentucky.
Yep.
Yeah.
We were supposed to march in the inaugural parade, never made it. So, the LA fires, I think we're still at 24 dead, multiple fires, no insurance.
What do you mean no insurance?
What?
Tell me about no insurance.
Several of the insurance companies pulled out months ago.
Oh, no, but you see, if you have an insurance on your house,
Yeah,
it's in force.
but what if the insurance company has terminated you?
They had to do it before the fire started.
They did, months ago.
If you didn't replace your home owners, and most bankers will force you to immediately replace your fire insurance. I'm going to guess that California is just as strict as Massachusetts about that. If you have a mortgage on your house and your insurance company has to tell you, we're pulling out of Massachusetts. They have to tell your bank.
They did
too.
tell them.
You have to tell your bank too. And your bank immediately says, Cliff, you go get coverage today, or we'll find an insurance company that will insure your house, and we'll cover you today.
So I didn't do an in-depth research on this, but Friday of next week, I'll bore you to tears.
No,
Yeah.
25 words or less.
No.
No, that's how it works, Cliff.
Following the producer's guidance, the government out there has announced that masks do no good against the smoke and ash because the particulates are so small they go right through the webbing.
Rain and gravity are the best things for particles.
Right. I thought it was interesting that in California, private people have turned to private firefighters to help them deal with fires.
Well, that's what saved the little strip mall in Palisades.
Yeah,
Palisades strip mall got saved by private firefighters.
the one that was owned by the opponent in the last mayoral election, the one who lost, Rick Caruso. And they got Karen Bass. So Justin Bateman tweeted, if you're missing your word salad bowl, Gavin Newsom has it.
Deval Patrick was the first black governor of Massachusetts. Thank you, John Curtis.
Good. All right. So, do we think this is going to have any impact on future elections in California?
Yeah, because they're going to be broke. What are they going to do with all that
His name
burnt up
Eileen.
tax money? Because you can't send a tax bill. You know, I have a $7 million home or a $70 million home. No, it's gone. It went up in a puff of smoke. What are you going to do without my tax money, Los Angeles? That's going to be a big issue. They're not talking about it right now. Big issue. This is from John Curtis, and he didn't sign it, but got a lot of good information here. Deval Patrick was the first black governor of Massachusetts. No, John, I won't be rioting on the Capitol on Monday. As a sane, well, that's questionable, John. As a sane American, if you're on this show, it's questionable if anybody's sane. As a sane American, I fully accept the results of the past presidential election, unlike so many citizens who didn't in 2020. Thank you for your comment, John. Back to you, Cliff.
And with an American flag. Very patriotic, John.
It's that icon was probably made in China. Probably from software in China. So, just to let you know.
Yeah. There's always someone to rain on the parade. So, so
Hey.
you think the Republicans are going to sweep into office in the next election in California?
I think that the people who are in charge right now won't run for office. No fun running a ship that's poor. If you have a lot of done, you can get your friends jobs. But in Los Angeles, they're going to have a big hole in their budget. Big hole in their budget. That's just my take.
Did you catch the president's farewell address?
I watched a lot of it, yes. We could all read a teleprompter. I think that Joe did a good job. And John Curtis is going to come February 3rd.
Okay. My take was it was sort of a, I'm all right, Jack, but you are screwed. It kind of vibe out of it.
Do you think he was reading a teleprompter?
Of course. So the Grace Curley Show poll question.
WRKO, it's on in the Is she in the morning or the afternoon?
Noon to 2.
Noon to 2, Cliff listens to WRKO in Boston. So please proceed about...
If he's on the highway.
Oh, you don't listen at home?
No.
Oh, only listening in the car. Gotcha.
The poll question yesterday was, what was the most ridiculous part of Joe Biden's farewell address?
The orgagassy word that he used. I'm still trying to break that down phonetically in my head.
Okay. So, oligarchy is taking shape that threatens our democracy. That picked up 41% in the poll. Pay their fair share. By the way, somebody out there asked us to invite Elizabeth Warren on the show. I sent an email to her office inviting her on the show. Okay,
Did you get a reply?
not yet.
So a comment from the audience. How about the people in North Carolina? Did the government forget about them? They had a disaster that happened there too.
In fact, FEMA has kicked them out of the hotels into the cold. Third was ceasefire hostage deal was negotiated by my team. That got 21%. Rise of the tech industrial complex, which reflects back on the Eisenhower's military industrial complex. Term limits for Supreme Court justices, and at 27%, Kamala and Doug have become family. Do you think of them as family, Eileen?
Do I think of who is family?
Kamala and Doug as family with Joe and Jill.
Oh, I do not see that at all.
Yeah.
I would think that would be the most awkward dinner table ever.
Yeah, I would think so. So Monday is the inauguration of President Trump for the second time. We're taking the day off on the show to begin our celebration early. And speaking of the inauguration, today's Grace Curley show poll question is, who do you most want not to see at the inaugural Monday? And she had a list of 6: Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, Joe Biden, George W. Bush, Michelle Obama, and Hillary Clinton. Who's your choice for not being there? Eileen.
Hold on one second. Hold on. Sorry. What was that, Cliff?
The poll question from Grace Curley show for today is, who do you not want to see at the inauguration? Barack, Bill Clinton, Joe Biden, George W. Bush, Michelle Obama, Hillary Clinton.
Hillary?
Okay, John, you have a preference?
No, I hope they all come.
Okay.
I think it's going to be a nice party. I hope the weather changes. There's snow in the forecast. So we'll see if the weather in Washington is nice that day.
Okay. So, we have the broad terms of a ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas. It was agreed to Wednesday after a year of fruitless negotiations, but it's substantially the same as what they had 8 months ago. All right, here we go.
The wildfires are just an example of the Democratic Party going up in flames. A sad yet vivid example. And so far as the Middle East thing, I was watching Al Jazeera yesterday, and this interviewer is asking a guy from the renegades out in Israel who, I forget what they call it, whatever the political party, the head of the political party, I think it begins with an H. And they said, this is the same deal you had in May. What's the difference? And he looks right at the commentator, or the guy asking the question. He says, Trump's coming into power. That's the only difference. That was the answer he offered up.
Oh. So, of course, the other thing is Bibi Netanyahu thinks he finally may have some control of the coalition in the Knesset, the Israeli parliament. Some things did change. Israel killed the Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar and battered Hezbollah. There was an attack on Iran that destroyed the country's air defenses. Assad regime collapsed in Syria, and people in Palestine started talking about an alternate to Hamas in the Gaza Strip. So there are some things, but it's not going to be finalized until Sunday or Monday. So who's the winner out of this? Eileen, who do you think is the winner? Is it Israel, Hamas, nobody?
Yeah, I don't think anybody wins in that with all the deaths and the destruction. What do you think, Cliff?
I'm of a mixed view. I think that there's a small possibility that this could result in Netanyahu's coalition collapsing. On the other hand, maybe the people in Gaza will get a little backbone and stand up to Hamas. What do you think, John?
Israel's the clear winner here. You take a flyover of the whole region, the Gaza Strip is destroyed. Israel remains standing strong. Israel's the big winner here. Hamas lost horribly. Just looking at the rubble. They say that, 43,000 people living on the Gaza Strip died, not counting the people still stuck in the rubble. And they believe there's probably 3,000 stuck in the rubble. So Hamas, Israel's the clear winner here. Who won World War II?
The Russians.
Germany didn't.
True. But Hamas has promised a repeat of 7 October, their Al-Aqsa flood operation. Do you think that'll happen?
I gotta fix Eileen's name. I spelled it wrong. Thank you for letting me know. I'll fix that.
Me? I let you know something?
Now, someone told him that he spelled it Eileen. So what do you think? Is Hamas going to come back in 6 months or a year with another attack, Eileen?
Well, I don't think Hamas can be trusted. Honestly.
Do you think you can trust Israel?
I'm sorry, what'd you say, John?
Do you think you can trust Israel? And then I'm going to ask you, do you think you can trust the United States government?
I guess.
The government is not
Trust is
here to
skewed.
help. They're not. They're here to help themselves.
Right, and I saw somebody yesterday on one of the YouTube short videos that I watched that are saying that the government is literally putting California on fire. I don't know if there's truth to that. Like, people just care about their best interest, not what's truly good for the people. And that's been lost.
Well, Eileen, you're an elected official.
Yeah.
How often do you sit there on a vote and say, what's in this for my district?
Well, I always think of that. Like, I do, honestly. and that's why I think it's so difficult to be me on the school committee, because I do try to vote logically and taking the historical perspective of over time. And I think my major thing is also, trying to vote based on how I ran my campaign, and then also to vote based on what's the best for our city in Lowell, because when I was so against that the law firm coming in and reviewing HR, I feel like what is that going to prove? Because it's not going to change. Nothing's going to change. I wanted to save the district money to put forward to our students and our kids where it should be, not trying to prove a political point. We all know that Lowell Public Schools has been crooked over time with hiring and so forth, and it's just how it is. But when are we going to start to turn our focus on the kids?
Good point.
So, John,
Yes, Cliff.
what'd you do to support someone running against Lori Trahan last time?
I used my big mouth here trying to get somebody to run against her.
Oh, okay. Elizabeth Warren?
Same thing.
So you just horned in on the host and tried to impose your views.
And I'm going to do the same thing about every school committee seat that's out there and every single city council seat that's out there, every selectman seat out there. We need better politicians.
We need better voters. What's LTC doing about changing this graph?
They're looking to go home today at noontime. Cliff, don't pick on LTC. Come on. We got to go. We're going home today. We're going home, Cliff. Don't call us till Tuesday.
Do they go home early on Fridays, like city government?
They mimic. In my day, when I was on the board, they took as much time off as they possibly could. I remember going there, and I had a vote. It was my vote that they not take snow days off, that they still had to open up and have the television station going. And the president of the board was infuriated, and they said he made a counter rule. Well, tell me what you're holding there, Cliff, and I'll tell you what happened.
This is a percent of voters who turned out to vote. My ward did okay, and the last ward did okay, and then Ward 2.
What changed, Cliff? Now, is this the state election?
This is the election in November.
Is this the state election? Federal election? Trump
Federal
election?
election.
Trump election. If you put an incentive out there, we're going to double your taxes. Yes or no? We're going to double your taxes. So yes or no question on your ballot.
I don't think it would have an impact.
I do. And if on the city election or town election, we're going to stop picking up your trash. Okay, Cliff, we'll go back over to you.
Will anybody notice
Will anybody notice what?
if they didn't pick up the trash?
You will notice real quick.
It's a problem. All right. So
Well, what do you think we should do to make people vote? Have pizza at the polling places? What's going to have people vote?
I don't know.
Understood. So
I
in
think
the audience,
I think though the city council should be beating that drum a lot more.
They
But
wanna
it's
keep their
not
seats.
to their advantage.
they want their friends just to vote. They don't want anybody else to vote. Just the city council friends. If they had their way, they wouldn't want the election broadcast to anybody.
Okay.
They want to keep those seats.
So looking at Ukraine, somebody had a headline, "Can Ukraine survive without U.S. military weapons?" I mean, they're burning through 6,000 artillery shells a day. we're making up the difference.
Are we, I think we're sending them the old stuff. We're not sending them the new stuff. What are your thoughts on that, Cliff? They getting new stuff or old stuff?
I assume they're getting the old stuff.
Yeah.
It's the way I would do it. First in, first out.
Get rid of
FIFO.
all. When we run out of old stuff, sorry, you should have won the war by now. We're done with you. Because the Bradleys, we're getting rid of the Bradleys. We sent the Bradleys over there. And they're taking out brand spanking new Russian tanks with the Bradleys.
So you use FIFO, right? First in, first out?
Is the FIFO?
FIFO, first in, first out.
Yes, they're supposed to rotate the stock.
Oh.
Joanna's really good at that. But right now she's out having a baby. So
Ah,
we won't be rotating that stock. Things are going to really take a slow down. So
how much maternity leave do you give?
whatever she needs.
Okay.
Whatever she needs.
And
We'll hope for a nice
is
healthy
Rihanna
baby.
here?
Go ahead.
Yes, she is. Yeah.
What the?
That's a private conversation, I think. Eileen, mute your phone, kid.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So, yeah, we're hoping for a nice, healthy baby, and we're hoping that she's back to work sooner rather than later, but that's all in God's hands.
Yep. So meanwhile, back in Ukraine, the Russian North Korean allies are now part of the defense, and they're apparently pretty fanatical in their tactics,
Oh, Cliff.
and they're not allowing themselves to be taken prisoner, so they're fighting to the death.
Now, it's a little slippery today. We have a little dusting.
Yeah.
I've asked you to park by the kitchen door. Why didn't you park by the kitchen door?
Because I want to make sure that the parking lot is available to Eileen and the guests, and that they don't have to walk too far.
Cliff, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 parking spaces here.
Oh wait, there's not that many. The first parking space is verboten.
That's for my wife.
Yeah.
I'm counting the parking spaces. So even if my wife should put her car out, you have 5 parking spaces left.
Yeah.
So I'd like you to park up here, please. You don't have to, Cliff, please, chooses to park on an icy hill. Now, Cliff, how old are you?
82.
So 82 years old, and this stubborn old retired colonel, lifer from the Air Force, prefers to park on the icy hill.
I think it has to do with his military history, Air Force history. He likes to be in covert places.
When Cliff became the wing commander, the first thing he ordered was that his desk be moved to outside with no chair. Is that where your desk was, Cliff? Outside with no chair?
No, it was at the end of the hallway.
Please park
Yeah.
at the top of the hill.
Close the door behind me. Yeah.
Boy, the static you get for trying to be polite and thoughtful.
Oh, speaking of guests and so forth, has anybody heard from Dominic Lay?
No, why do you ask?
He wasn't at the school committee meeting, and I was like, that's weird. Nobody's really heard from him. And then I texted him yesterday morning to say, I missed you at the school committee meeting. Is everything okay? And no response.
Well,
I just...
the
and I asked,
workaround there.
Fred Baku, and Fred hasn't heard from him.
Okay, the workaround there is you call Patty Kerwin-Kelty. She knows exactly where he is.
Who is that?
That's his boss in Eddie Kennedy's office. If I have trouble tracking him down, I'll just say, look at, now, Dominic, either you answer me or I'll call Patty. And bam, he answers right away. Very effective.
Meanwhile, back in Ukraine, we got any thoughts about these North Korean soldiers fighting to the death?
I haven't heard them. How good are they?
I don't know how good they are, but they're willing to die.
Well, I understand that, but are they running up to the front lines with a rock? What
No, they're bringing weapons.
what kind of weapons? Do they have like the colonial pea shooters?
No. They're using modern rifles.
But I mean, Cliff, you have a chat group with all these military minds. There's no report on the quality of their fighting skills?
Their fighting skills are high. And to ice the cake, they're willing to die. The Ukrainian special forces reported killing a group of them. They went in to check the bodies, and before they got to the bodies, one showed a little sign of life and pulled the pin on a hand grenade and blew himself up.
Dedicated. They're really dedicated people. Brainwashed as they may be.
So, how are we doing on time?
It's 47 past.
It's
We're doing
6:40. Yeah. I'm going to head there now.
All right, well, we'll see you when you get here, but we'll keep talking to you. Thank you. So
All right.
I got some text here, Cliff.
Go ahead.
So the first one says, let me get up on the screen. John, picking on Cliff is elder abuse. Well, I'm
I laughed.
I'm 73, so
Jeep.
tit for tat. Okay, so there will never be peace in the Middle East until the masses realize that they need to live in harmony as it relates to the physical world and not worry about meeting their God in an afterlife. There's no evidence even exists. I understand what he has to say. The harmony pit, I agree. I think that I know there's a God, and I disagree with that part. How many people in Lowell show up to vote when picking the city council? Non-election years.
Less.
Less people. So I think we have to put on there, we're not going to pick up your trash no more.
So the FDA, and I was surprised about this, the Biden administration is cleaning up a lot of loose ends in the last couple of days. The FDA has banned the use of red dye number 3 in food and ingested drugs.
When does it go into effect? And do you think Trump will get rid of that?
15 January of 2027 for food, and 18 January 2028.
28?
2028.
2028?
Yeah.
Silly rule.
To reformulate products.
So we're not going to have red chips.
No. So I thought this was RFK Jr.'s issue, but apparently President Biden's taken it away from him. I also saw overnight he's apparently commuted the sentence of over 2,000 drug users, claiming that these poor people were sentenced under harsher, older laws. And so he's helping them out.
He let 2,000 drug dealers go?
Yeah.
Okay. Not okay, but I understand what you're saying.
Drug users.
They weren't drug dealers,
Could have been drug dealers.
but they were in prison for using the drugs, not for dealing the drugs.
They were in prison for various drug violations. Users and dealers.
Crazy thing to do. It'll come back to haunt them.
So is he going to grant pardons to people like Liz Cheney before it's over? His brother?
He's not done yet.
No.
Maybe he'll do that Monday morning.
That could be.
Can he do it Monday morning?
He could.
I was listening to a Democratic radio show in the car the other day, and finally, I heard one of the people call up and say, you know what President Biden's got to do? He's got to free the migrants. That'll really screw up Trump. And the commentator said, that's a really good idea, but I don't think it's legal. So I was waiting for that to come around because I think that would really throw a wrench into Trump's plans if President Biden were to forgive all the migrants.
Yeah. Not being legal has never been an impediment for President Biden. He's still trying to forgive college loan debts. He got something like 40,000 students of a defunct for-profit university. He forgave their loan debts here the other day. Eileen, did he forgive your loan debts?
I did. I have had a chunk forgiven, but not all of it.
Oh.
Certain ones have not. I think I just owe like $10,000 more, and then I'll be finally done.
So, Joe Biden plans to remove Cuba from the list of state sponsors of terrorism. I'm not sure what that's all about, especially now that it comes out that Havana syndrome looks like it may be the result of a directed energy weapon. So, hey Eileen, how was the school committee on Wednesday?
It was pretty good. We got through about 8:45. What did we solve any big problems? There were a lot of motion responses. We talked about resources, a lot of transportation stuff. Do you have any specific questions?
Was everyone happy about the Lowell High School vocational program entry being by lottery?
No, everyone was not happy about that.
Ah. So,
But I think that's just has to be a way to, like, they just have to get used to it.
okay. And I saw a long report on graduation requirements. I'm not sure that it added much to my knowledge, but it did lay out you have to take so much history, math, English. I thought that was all good. Were people happy with that report?
There's always been a level of requirements. I think people just more or less question if students are not graduating, where are they?
2 donuts and a box of McDonough's?
Yes.
10.70 today. Apple cake?
Okay.
Sorry.
Sorry about that.
So,
I'm trying to multitask and bring you guys some donuts.
Thank you.
multitasking is good. So, Joanne Jacobs wrote that misbehavior is worse, say educators. Student behavior problems are getting worse. And since 2019, before the pandemic, there was a pronounced spike in behavior problems. Are you
Yes.
running into that? Do teachers talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, there's no respect. There's none, and there's no accountability from administration. And it's not like you can, like my students will come down and they'll talk about teachers and they'll say, I don't appreciate this teacher's methods. I was like, you know what? We didn't even have that vocabulary when I was a kid. I was like, there was a teacher in front of you. They were older. No matter what, you respected them and you didn't question them. You did what they said, you know, and it just seems like this generation is just so like privileged and not wanting to feel uncomfortable in any sort of way. and they resist it, and it happens with disrespect.
So are we seeing a decline in teacher morale?
You're seeing a complete decline in anyone who would even want to go into the teaching business, right? And I do see young girls that go to Merrimack that come to our school and do their co-op or their internship, and they're hopeful, but it's tough. Everything's always your fault. You know, as a teacher, everything you build within your classroom is on you. You're seeing teachers retire. You're seeing a lot of resignations. That's one thing that we went through, the list of resignations that was a progress status update. You're seeing people just leaving the field of education because it's not what they really thought, and it's an epidemic. It's not good. The behavioral piece and morale with teachers, I mean, I think the camaraderie like teachers have built with each other because of the system, the education system and how it is. You know, that's the thing that I love best about my school in the district I work in. We all get it, and we all get how it's going to be, and everybody has everyone's back. And so morale, they know what to expect, but everybody is there for each other at the same time as professionals, so I don't know if that answers your question exactly, but it's not a good situation.
No. Hey, I got the impression that Paul Georges is leaving as head of the teachers union.
I know, I heard that. But I cannot confirm nor deny because I have not talked to him myself.
So do we know who's being put forward to replace him?
You, Cliff, you.
Well, my father got his picture on page 3 of the New York Times leading a strike, helping to lead a strike, so yeah, I guess it's in my blood.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Some ominous music is playing just as John walks back into the room.
It's break time.
All right. So we're going to go for a break. We hope Eileen's going to be in the studio in a second. And we're looking for Ralph Hogan to show up.
I'll be back. Thanks.
Welcome to City Life Show. I'm Cliff Krieger, your host. Eileen Delrossi is on the phone right now, my co-host, and I'm expecting her in the studio in a few minutes. Our producer, John McDonough, and we're expecting Ralph Hogan to show at any time. Eileen told me during the break that the thermometer on her dashboard was 18 degrees.
It just went up a degree to 19.
Oh, good.
Ralph says he's on the property.
All right.
There's a live look at the kitchen door, and I'll refresh the picture just to be sure. That's a live look at the kitchen door, and not yet. So
36 degrees is going to be the high. There was a little dusty and snow overnight, no big deal. And then it's going to be cold again, maybe a little dusty and snow tomorrow on Saturday, and then snow Sunday night. AccuWeather said 2 to 4 inches. McDonough said up to 6 inches, so we're going to have some snow, which
it's wintry.
so no show on Monday. It's Martin Luther King Jr. Birthday,
What time is the inauguration? Like 1 o'clock?
noon.
Oh, okay.
And we have an inauguration on Monday, and they'll be flying the flags in Texas and on Capitol Hill at full staff for the inauguration. And then they'll put them back to half staff for the month for Jimmy Carter. So it looks like Eileen may be here. She just hung up. So if you have any thoughts on issues, feel free to text in and let us know what you think. Be polite, but don't hold back. That is the way I'd put it. So the pit count, the homeless pit count, the point in time count will be 30 January, and the statistics I had showed that between 2023 and 2024, there was a 10,000 increase in homelessness, up to almost 30,000. It's getting to be a bit of a problem, and our governor, Maura Healey, has indicated to the General Court, the legislature,
Now Ralph's on the property.
that we need a major overhaul to state-run shelter system. That was the producer saying that Ralph Hogan thinks that the property is bigger than it really is. You can go to the Lowell Sun or the Boston Herald for an article that Maura Healey wants major changes. Eileen is in the office. How are you, Eileen?
I'll come sit next to you.
Well, Ralph's going to be sitting there in a second.
I just feel weird talking. Great. I'm good. How is everybody?
Good.
Good. It's been a long week. We've had a lot of meetings. We've
Yeah.
had school committee Wednesday. Last night, we had 2 subcommittee meetings.
So amongst her offerings is Maura Healey wants to say you have to have been a resident of Massachusetts for 3 months before you can get the homeless benefits of being in a shelter. That seems a little harsh to me, but then I'm just a Republican. What can I say? So, Eileen, did you see the Lowell Sun editorial? It was kind of strange to me. It says,
Ralph's gonna sit in the middle.
can you fix the camera? There you go.
Going as fast as I can. Let people in the door and all that good stuff.
You need to get up earlier and exercise. So, Hello, Ralph, how are you?
Morning.
Ralph's from the Greater Lowell Technical High School School Committee. Spell check doesn't like that phrase
Really?
because it has school twice next to each other. So we're talking about Lowell Sun had an editorial that said, it's the kids who can't read, not the teachers. And this was because some state wanted to test the teachers on reading. So what do you think about that, Eileen?
I think it's very true. And it goes to the teacher accountability that I was talking about earlier, where everyone wants to blame the teachers because they're the ones with the degrees when the bigger system is what's broken and these kids aren't getting the resources they need to make it practical for them to read. Like, there's constant changes in reading programs and curriculum, and it's just too much.
So Ralph, do you run into trouble with students at Greater Lowell not knowing how to read?
I was out there this week, and let me tell you, they're very polite, courteous, when they see adults
Yeah.
marching through the school, and it is odd, though, they're very polite. They go to the side, they let the adults pass. But when they change class, it is a busy hallway. And then all of a sudden, a few minutes later, empty. They're well behaved. Things are very well run out there.
Yeah, I would think reading would be important in technical areas, being able to read tech manuals and do that kind of thing.
They do have,
Excuse me, my
tutorials.
children. Microphones
Oh.
are not magic. They have to be 4 inches from your mouth. That's where it's supposed to be.
Let's go for 4 inches.
That's not, that's 4 inches.
Wow, he's strict this morning, aren't you?
Well, it's just the thing where,
No, he likes
And
to
he called us
interrupt.
my children. He's feeling fatherly.
So,
I'll bet, thank you.
second language learners, there's
Yeah.
2 or 3 programs out there for that, but by the time they get to high school, they should be in pretty good stead in their reading ability. But we do have supplemental programs for those that are struggling a bit. And you're correct, technical manuals, as my uncle who worked at General Electric jet engines, he said that's the toughest job there is, because if it's not done correctly, you're never going to assemble a jet engine.
What
Yeah,
I want to talk about is AI for a second and how advanced our kids are and their ability to use the chat GPT. My son did his homework and I was like, who helped you with this, Anthony? And he's like, chat GPT. So he's putting a problem into chat GPT and copying it. And I hear my students talking about it often. So I think John makes this point often. We really, in education, have to work to meet students where they are at with technology, because are they really learning if they're so far advanced with these things? And like, instead of reading a manual, they're going to ask YouTube to pull up a video on it, and it's out there. So I guess, like, at what point do we as educators and committee members look at it and say, something's not matching up? We're still trying to teach a curriculum that's based on one way of learning, and essentially there are so many varied ways to work, and especially today with assistive technology and the internet and being able to talk into your phone, the kids don't think they need to read because they can just ask Siri. That was a true quote from one of my 3rd graders.
well, I think at least the children should be taught that if one of America's enemies decides to jump into our computers, like very often we hear, well, there's a rumor around town that the sheriff's department has been hacked. Their emails are all screwed up, like Lowell got hacked a couple of years ago. there's a rumor floating around the sheriff's department, and the only person I talked to from the sheriff's department went like, "Boo, boo, boo, boo." That was my answer. So, they didn't say, they get their, I said, well, are you getting your emails? I haven't looked at my computer. Okay. So they know I'm asking for the show, but, there's a rumor out there. So, any of you news hounds out there, if you really want to check with the sheriff's department and see if they get hacked. But speaking of the kids going to the phones, if the phones are reprogrammed, and they're pretty easy to reprogram, to give not so good answers, what do the kids verify the answer with? I think the kids need to be taught to use their telephones, but be smart about it.
Right, and my biggest issue is not that he's using it for answers, and I feel this way as a special ed teacher. If you're able to put that information in correctly and get a correct answer, like I looked at it from that perspective instead of getting upset, and I said, wow, at least he copied the answers right. And in terms of where he's at in his education, right? And he's learning PEMDAS, parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction, right? And so the fact that he was able to look at it, take it in, and output it, for me, made me happy, right? And I tell my students that too. If you're looking at it and you're seeing the process, I'm okay with it. You need to turn your brain on and remember it, not just write it and forget about it, because all of this builds up. And I think today kids think, I'll do it once and then we're done with it, and nothing builds upon each other. And these teachers in front of us, why are they in front of us? And what's my role? Like, students don't know how to be students anymore.
That's true.
Yeah.
If I could go back to.
Where do you go to student school?
John, just a second. Go ahead.
Thank you. John, when we were back on Kirk Street, there was a young man in high school struggling along in Mr. O'Neill's algebra class. And
Good old Arthur O'Neill. He was a good guy.
he was. His mother bought him at the time, like $100, calculator. And scientific notation, big deal back then.
Yep.
It wasn't yesterday that we were in high school, John. So,
Graduated in 1970.
You guys are the same class?
yeah.
Oh, you guys go way back.
We competed for the same woman. We both did rather well.
So, this young man got this high-tech calculator. Today, they give them away at banks as promotion.
Scientific
Oh, yeah,
calculator?
it's basically cheap today. It's in your phone, the same information you get in an iPhone.
Yeah.
Long story short, the algebra equation had to be pumped in correctly, hit the button, and the answer come out. All of a sudden, this young man started answering questions, and Mr. O'Neill was very impressed. And he comes strolling down and says to me, "What do you got there?" And I show him, and yeah, let me take a look at that. Calls me up after class, he goes, "Ralph, you can use that anytime you want. Test, no test, whatever." I says, "Really?" I was very excited. I was doing well. He says, "There's more work to put this information into this calculator than to do it the way I just showed you on the board."
Well, right, and that's how maybe you learned to become a student, and you learned your discipline of, putting work in. Today, kids just think teachers are up in front of them to perform for them, and that they're there to watch. And I think even COVID had a big impact on that.
Does
But
not go back to society and the family and the value of education, and that's.
I think it
point.
definitely.
I got to ask both of you school committee people, where is student school? Where do I get taught to be a good student? At what grade? And I know you guys like orientation. When's orientation? Where's student school?
Before these two answer, I'll tell you, It's the same place it's been for hundreds of years.
Hester Waldor's house playing canasta.
It's over at Cliff's house.
It's at everyone's house.
No, it's not.
Yes,
No,
that
Cliff-
is where the school is.
Cliff.
School
my
may not be
friend.
in session. You may have screwed your children to the wall by not helping them,
Nowadays,
but it was your responsibility.
today's parents, when you call a plumber, I have a leaky pipe. The plumber comes over. You don't help the guy.
You don't?
I don't.
You stand there.
The boiler's broken.
But John,
No,
here is the
Cliff,
point.
my
My
point is-
father made the point to me when I was growing up.
I wasn't on-
that
you weren't
if
on
you
camera, but
have
that's okay, go ahead.
someone over to the house doing some work, you stand there until they're done, in case they need anything.
There's a
You
sign,
show
there's a sign on the
attention.
wall. There's a sign on the wall. Repair bill. If you help, it's $300 an hour. If you ask questions, it's $200 an hour. If you watch me, it's $100 an hour. If you leave me alone, it's $50 an hour. Which do you want? Believe me, Cliff, I see especially single-parent households don't have the time to teach the kids discipline. If a single-parent household, the refrigerator's broken and the refrigerator repair person shows up, nobody watches the refrigerator person. Nobody. They'll ask the hey, what do I owe you? And is it fixed? Is it fixed? That's the only thing. And so far as teaching is concerned, it's the teacher's job to teach the kid, not mine. That's the attitude of many parents. I'll listen to the school committee members say what they have, but Cliff, at the turn of the century, when the year 2000 came, this has been going on since at least the year 2000. Parents expect teachers to teach. It's not the parents' job.
You
In many-
are destroying
many
the country.
Households, in many households.
You're destroying the country.
Okay, where is parent orientation, Mr. Krieger? Colonel,
The same place.
same place, at
And
home.
we've been having parent orientation for thousands of years.
And how's that working out for MCAS?
For MBS?
MCAS,
Oh,
how's that working?
we got rid of MCAS.
No, it's still going to be given. The test is still going to be given.
Will anyone notice?
Cliff, we're dumbing down America. The way we're going right now is, it's not working. And to say everything's
True.
fine, it's not fine.
True.
Okay, so I'd like the school committee members to respond to my issue. Do parents think it's the school system's job to teach? Starting off with Ralph.
They do, but what I was talking about earlier was basic responsibility and approach and politeness and so on and so forth. You know, the teacher teaches a little bit better if the class is managed well, you know, kids, you know, receptive to the material presented. You know, that's, when you get to high school, the kids should know that. I mean, they should have that down, but unfortunately, there are some background issues that present a problem. But, you know, I tip my hat to the teachers every day because it's a tough task today. Segueing a bit to what you were talking about, you know, presenting material to the kids, having them retain it, and my own math.
Experience.
Yeah. You try to get one step ahead, but it actually is a longer route. Maybe Cliff could educate me a bit, but I'm hearing that the next threat in the stratosphere or worldwide conflicts is not going to be like the Middle East where they're really killing each other, but it's going to be electromagnetic waves that'll knock out computers.
That is a big threat.
But it goes back to what Eileen said. The kids got to know the basic formulas and they got to be able to perform. Because when that happens, Are we all gonna run around like chickens with our head cut off? Are we gonna take a piece of paper and pencil and solve problems?
Yes, because even your telephone, even your landline won't work. We're so addicted to the World Wide Web,
Oh, yeah.
like we're addicted to electricity. Everything's fun and games until you shut off the electricity.
Yeah. It's funny, last Friday, I was actually on a phone call, and in my office, I have a portable phone. And so I was talking to a parent, and one of my students had came in. She's like, Miss, what are you doing? And then I had to think about it. I'm like, she's probably never even seen a portable phone. I'm like, this is actually a phone? I'm on it with a parent? Like, they haven't even seen a portable phone. Never mind what used to be used, and yeah, so we are, as much as we're, like we say, would like to meet students where they're at, right? What if it all does get wiped out, right? And our students currently don't have the resilience to even pay attention in this state and the way things are with computers and electricity and technology. And if we lost it all, what would happen?
A comment from the audience.
That's a reality.
Comment from the audience, it says, student school was called, if you don't do what I tell you, there will be consequences. Kids are allowed to get away with things we weren't. Good point, thank you.
No, very true.
So, now, these statistics are 2 years old. I haven't seen an update from Letitia James.
Latifa Phillips?
Oh, Letitia Phillips. I apologize.
Letitia James, wasn't she leading something in Georgia or something like that?
Jesse James' sister.
I don't know. Anyway, the statistics showed student performance by race. And the best performing students were Asians in Lowell schools. The second best performing students were black, then Caucasians.
Eileen, thank you for the donut.
Boston cream.
What'd you get, Cliff?
I have no idea.
It's the same.
You have a Boston cream.
Isn't that based on the basic population of the city?
Yeah.
That would be,
Yeah, we're not Baltimore, Charm City, where there's a majority of blacks and they're all failing. It's a terrible situation down there. But not being a sociologist, just an average citizen, I put it to family. The Asian families have discipline and standards. The black families in Lowell, many of them are immigrants coming from other places. They're here because they developed self-discipline and hard work ethics, and they've passed that on to their children, and therefore the children do well. So this is a failure that's bigger than the school committee. This is a city council level issue, I think, that we need to, and John touches on the problem, that we need to be helping people learn how to be parents and good citizens. It shows up in they don't bother to vote. It shows up in their children don't do well in school.
Yeah, that's a lot of, what we talked about in the meeting Wednesday night. We talked about maybe some type of program for parents, something to help parents to get their kids even ready for kindergarten. And I know Lowell used to have that program because my Aunt Midge worked as a person that would go out and help teach the parents what the kids need to know before kindergarten. And even though that sounds rudimentary, and you wouldn't think you would need that, you do need that today even more. And, we looked at the scores. I think I had sent you the report. When you look at the testing scores, we're not achieving in reading scores and math scores. It's the data showing that more of our students are under 50 percentile than are above 50 percentile. And it's a very disturbing fact. And at what point does somebody in administration decide to figure out how to put a more practical curriculum in?
I thought Zoe Dzinku was supposed to be working on that kind of thing.
The parents, we should have an update on the family resource. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The whole family has to be involved in a child's education.
Yeah.
And how you do it is different communities approach it different ways. But it's a point that is not on the report card.
No. So, how are things out at Greater Lowell Tech?
I think they're very good. I don't know whether John has reviewed his emails, but no?
Oh, that's too bad. All those photos?
Hey, did you know John is Mick? He did. I can just tell with that.
That was my high school nickname. All the kids in Pawtuckaville call me Mick. Now, it's a derogatory name, and I should be ashamed of it. That's what they call me, Mick. They still do.
Mick. Well, I didn't look at it as that. I looked at it like it was your alias, M-I-C-K. But I see what you're saying.
I don't know.
Pick up-
Hyphenated.
My brother-in-law's nickname was Mick. Seemed reasonable enough.
I thought it was his alias to pick up chicks in high school. Mick. Like Mick Jagger, M-I-C-K.
Yeah, possible.
Possible.
The photos that I sent you, John, basically,
I'll go look. You send it to the City Life show?
no, I sent them to you.
Okay, I'll go look.
It was under Jack at McDonough's.
Oh, maybe your son? Isn't...
That's the email I had.
I understand. We'll go look.
So I'll look for them, and you tell us about the portable classrooms.
Okay, basically,
Before you guys go up, I do have to run. I realized I forgot something at home, so I have to swing it home before I go to work. But I hope everyone has a good weekend.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, Ralph.
We'll sleep in Monday, Eileen.
Yes, I'm excited.
Thanks for the donut. And by the audience agrees with the Boston cream donut. Guy said that's his favorite donut.
Wait, this isn't working.
I forget how oh, there they are. Basically, I'll give you, a verbal
Yeah.
report. A while ago, we engaged and started down the path of 8 additional modular classrooms. Well, they'll be complete in the spring. And I went through the other day, and they're looking pretty good. It's in the rough construction phase. They were touching up walls and, doing,
Take a fist bump.
one floor looked better than the other, but that's because they're working from the top down.
Yeah.
To complete the project. It's, connected to the main building, and then the tunnel goes over the driveway from the sports side to the academic side of the building, from the gym side to the main building. And it looks great. I mean, it's right by the soccer fields. They'll be taking 8, or they created 8 academic instructional classrooms, which will free up space in the older section of the building, and they're going to expand the technical side. One area would be electrical, with all the high-end technical electrical items that have come onto the market, sensors that turn lights on and off. Everything is automated. They're going to set up workstations that are going to be a little more involved than in the past to control and distribute electricity in a building, residential and commercial. So, it's an upgrade to the whole system, to the whole trade, and they'll have more room by taking that space out of one section and putting it in this modular section. $5.5 million project, but it's economical. It expands the school a bit. And there'll be a few classes, but not, additional seats, but not many, because they're rearranging rather than expanding.
Are the students involved in this construction effort?
Yes, that's why I sent the material in.
Yeah.
There was a contractor that did the actual modular units. They established the base,
Yeah.
the infrastructure in the ground. They placed the boxes on the supports. But the kids did the painting and the decorating, if you will, P&D they call it. Those kids are the ones that went in and did that. Now, on the other end of the building, they're taking it used to be a solar electric type building that the kids worked on to learn the solar aspect, and they're expanding that into a vet tech program. That'll take some time, but they're expanding the building. They're more than doubling the size of the building.
I got the email.
And the kids are, involved in moving all the heavy electrical panels and plumbing and on and on. The kids are involved in that one to a deeper degree because it's a smaller size.
So, Ralph, looking at this email you sent me, thank you.
Yeah, that's the interior of the modular building, the new building that just sort of popped up, and it's gonna
So
have a very
modular, you mean
positive-
they were dropped off on trailer trucks first and they just built them out there?
Well, yeah, they did the infrastructure, the supports, and then a crane puts the boxes on, basically, to
So
summarize.
they arrived on 18-wheelers and they arrived on tractor trailers
Yeah,
and you're building them out on site.
and they're in the clean,
What a difference.
yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah, from one level to the other, but it's moving along nicely. It's definitely an advantage to the building and to the school. And with the change in technology, plumbing and electric, I mean, there's a lot going on, and the school needs the update. It needed the space.
Yep.
And that's the connection portion right there between the modular, which is set up on 2-foot cement blocks right there on the corner. And, it's
The original buildings here.
Yes, it's a great addition. It's very positive.
Is it gonna be eye pleasing? Is it gonna look this nice? What's it gonna look like when or is it gonna be flat?
Okay, if you roll down a bit, okay, so that's the vet tech site. They're just at the foundation stage where that orange material is protecting the recently placed block. And the enclosed area is the other side of the wall where they're actually building the wall. And it's got to double the size of that building. These are the panels that I mentioned that the, electric department or the students will be, with an instructor, and the staff, they'll all be working on moving that over. And now this picture goes to the new building that has been discussed previously, the field house. And this will be online for the spring. So this is lavatories, a snack bar, right by
Now, Ralph, when
the
you say
soccer
online for
football
this,
field.
when you say online for the spring, do you mean we'll be
Done.
utilizing it to teach the students?
Yeah, it should be done late spring. And again, it's the instructors. Bill was there. He's in the next photo or so with Eric. And they're doing a great job. The students, masonry students are working on that facade.
Yep.
Is Bill and Eric. And, it's really a great project. They have several great projects out there. Obviously, the modular building is more under the contractor, and it's the finishes that our students participate in, because we want to get it online. But it's definitely a learning process.
Okay, so it looked like you said this is the same pictures
Yep,
on this second one.
that must be Cliff's.
Okay, good. Nice
So-
pictures, Ralph, thank you.
Taking off your Great Lowell hat and putting on your Lowell citizen hat, you talked about a bridge from the modules over to another part of the school. Yeah.
That's been in place for years.
Yeah. Do you think we should have a bridge over Father Morissette from the high school over to the parking garage, so that people can walk on the bridge rather than walking across the street?
That's an interesting concept. And what comes to mind to me, if you're going from Kingsborough to Dracut and you go by the University of Lowell, I think it's Riverside. I'm not sure, but it runs down towards Dracut. When they're changing classes, it's like ants. They just come at traffic from every direction. And I think it's dangerous for everybody. But what you're saying is to limit the impediment going into and out of the school?
Yeah, and all those people on the, like you say, on the street, it's an impediment to the cars on the street, and
But it's a danger to the pedestrian as well as,
it's a danger to the pedestrian.
So, yeah, I mean, it's worth looking at. I don't know whether they have the funding, but that would have been a good idea to
Yeah.
incorporate.
They ignored it.
Even, it wouldn't have to be an enclosed, it could be open.
Yeah,
It's just a walkway. from
Just a
one
walkway.
To the other. And it wouldn't even have to be connected to the building. You could make the walkway open, up and high enough for trucks and so on and so forth. But that would definitely be a safety issue.
yeah, I think so. Speaking of safety, John asked me about snow plowing the last snowstorm. I had in front of my house, I had a nice wide black strip down my street. They didn't do it curb to curb. Did you think the snow plowing went well in your neighborhood?
Yes, but Cliff, I don't know how to tell you this. It's kind of shocking news, but we had a glacier in my neighborhood.
Oh,
So it was a learning moment, but on Sanders Ave, one Thursday, Friday, there was a little puddle. And then by Sunday, the puddle had really grown along the gutter. And by Monday, the city come up with cones to sort of let everybody know that this puddle was growing and it's now ice. And by Friday of that week, it was 3 houses in each direction, and people were saying, what's going on? And thank God, Councilor Gittier contacted the manager, and Tipper had guys out there the next day, and they fixed it. It seems as though the feed line to a house, the Leganis house, which is a lovely home, beautiful woodwork, had ruptured. And
Oh.
it was just a small leak at the, what do you call it, the shut-off box. Either before or at, somewhere in that area. And it was causing a little bit of a glacier to keep growing because of that absolutely frigid weather.
oh yeah.
It was the talk of the neighborhood. But in general, the snow plowing it wasn't a big storm.
John, what's your impression?
Downtown Lowell, they had snow in the middle of the street. The lanes where the cars went were black, but to the side, to the center and the sides was all snow. They never treated Highland Street that I saw, and I think the city did a lackluster job. And hopefully, on Monday, they'll do an exquisite job because we're expecting 3 to 6 inches on Monday.
Oh, I got to get some things out of the yard.
Yeah.
3 to 6?
Yep, that's what they're talking about.
Over in the Belvedere, 2 to 4.
Yeah, they have less snow over there. And it's whiter too, isn't it?
Yeah. It is. I want to talk about the city council. Last week, they took a vote on the Smith Baker Center, the old First Congregational Church, and they voted 6-2 to have it torn down. I mean, it's a 141-year-old church with wonderful acoustics, but the cost to repair it, not worth it.
Oh,
So,
Cliff, I had a wonderful Chevy Avalanche 2000. Absolutely, I loved it. You know, cab,
Yeah.
crew cab, had cover, tonneau cover in the back. It was a wonderful vehicle. I had it 24 years, 3 months, and 7 days. I sold it for 1% of what I paid for it after 24 years. And I hated to give it up because I liked it. But the fact of the matter is, the frame of the truck was rotted. So, I mean, I know it's not the same, but emotionally and all this historical value and, architectural advantage and so on and so forth. Cut the windows out that you love, set them aside, incorporate them into the next building. But that building has been hanging around, leaking. It's a problem.
yep.
For the taxpayer and everybody else, call it a day, take it down and do something else.
Parking lot.
Anything.
Talk
But
about the Smith Baker Center.
if somebody gets in there and gets hurt, the taxpayer's got to pay again.
If a brick falls off the building and clinks you,
It's,
who's going to give you your life back? If it clinks me on the head, who's going to? Where do you get your life back? It's a danger. Goodbye. Good luck. God bless. Tear the thing down.
but,
When I see my friend Rita Mercer, I'm going to ask, because my takeaway from the Lowell Sun article was Rita voted against it. She didn't want to tear the building down. So Rita's a very logical person and longtime friend of mine. Good. I want to find out the foundation of her thought.
I agree that Rita's very logical, a good-hearted, well-intentioned person, but it's my opinion, the building has outlived its usefulness. It's been vacant for, 5 to 8 years at least.
Yep, seems that way.
20 years. At
How
least.
many?
The last person to use that building was the
Arthur
the Lowell Senior Center. The late great Arthur Romalo.
Oh, he's a good guy.
And when he moved to the, when we built the new senior center, thanks to John Cox's mother, we built the new senior center. That building hasn't been utilized since then. That's to my memory.
The worst thing is to leave a building empty and not, no activity
20
at
years
all.
ago, Ralph. 20 years ago.
That definitely has to go. I mean, they are now costing the taxpayer money.
Yep.
If they don't turn it into low-income housing, though, we got to pay HUD about $460,000.
Well, that'll get forgiven. We'll just call Lori for hand. Forgive that, will you? Okie dokie. That's how that works.
As a taxpayer, federal taxpayer, I think that's wrong.
Cliff,
We made a deal, we got to stick to it.
since before I was born, the government has been printing 100% extra cash every year than they're taking in taxes and gotten away with it.
Factually not true, but a good effort to pinpoint a problem.
And we're going to continue to print money because the American dollar is backed up by faith in a country that doesn't believe in God. It's backed up by faith. It's not backed by gold. backed up by faith in the American dollar. Recently, in Lebanon, they're having their political troubles in Lebanon. The Lebanese in Lebanon are selling their Lebanon euros. They don't want them. They're buying American dollars. Paper. They don't like the paper they're getting, which is backed up by faith. And they're buying our paper, which is backed up by faith. That's the world we live in, backed up by faith. And digital money's never going to come through because politicians love cash.
I think a lot of people like cash.
Yeah, a lot of us. So I thought the other thing from last week, which I was really happy about, was Eric Kitcher had a motion, provide the city council with a report on all training, professional development attended by city maintenance staff, land and buildings over the last 5 years, outline courses taken by employees and dates. And I think that gets to an important point, which is the training of the workforce in Lowell.
Yeah.
And in my mind, maybe the city of Lowell should cut a deal with Greater Lowell Technical High School for night school courses to make sure our city employees are up to date on technology like HVAC, and also that they're getting some management courses to help prepare them to get promoted.
That's an excellent idea. I made this suggestion when I was a city employee, that when they plan a school, that all the schools, the new one online, coming online, and all the other, they should all have the same company for locks. Now that you can say that's, Mickey Mouse item on a $100 million project, $500 million, but going forward for the next 10 or 20 years, now you have to have someone or hire someone that every school has a different lock system. And it's expensive. If they all had the same locking mechanism, key system, at least you send them to one training class and they can take care of all these doors.
Yeah, standardization is important.
Oh, yeah, and I don't think it's in place.
Yeah.
And the other problem, from the outside looking in, they have a school department and they have the city lands and building. So if the window breaks, the custodian cannot replace the glass. They have to call down and get the city to send somebody up and say, yep, the glass is broken, we'll order a piece and we'll get to it a couple weeks. And, I know that's a simple example, but that's about what happens.
You're right. The ability to do the work locally on site with local people, I think, is an important
What I
advantage.
get a kick out of is the overpay. I watched a little bit of the city council meeting last Tuesday night, and the police chief, fine guy, got a great group of guys and gals working for him, doing an exquisite job. So they're boasting about these cameras. We're going to put cameras. I think Vesna asked about cameras. $167,000 were blown on cameras. I'm lucky enough to be on the board of directors for the Friends of the Senior Center, Lowell Senior Center. So I'm on that board. And last meeting, we bought a camera for the elevator that cost $100. It's $100. Now, we got a ton of security cameras at the funeral home. This is my favorite one. It's on the rooftop of McDonough Funeral Home across the driveway here. Does a fantastic job. This camera cost us $2,000. It's an exquisite camera. I'll show off a little bit, Ralph, because you probably don't get to watch the show as much as a lot of people do. But I'm going to ask for the controller. The controller will pop up, and I can hit a button called City Hall. And just to show you how good a camera can zoom in on something, that's the same shot.
You
And
can see the time.
I can zoom in even more. These cameras that are out there are absolutely astounding. Now, we bought this for
Wait,
$2,000.
who is that that's looking out the window?
That's Tommy Golden checking on us. But I don't know how much, I'll keep going until it stops. It's going to digital now. But now I'll press the button again to go back to the school, it's called school entrance. And you press this button. This is the same camera, zoomed out. And you'll see how far away City Hall actually is. So my point is, here's City Hall. Same camera, just zoomed in on it from the rooftop camera next door. We paid $2,000 for the camera. What the hell is the city buying for $167,000?
It's just like going to the
nobody
grocery store.
asked. Nobody asked. Oh, good job, Chief. What the hell's the matter with you people? $167,000 on cameras?
It's just like going to the grocery store. You can go to Stop and Shop and pay one price. You can go to, Aldi's. You can go to,
Or you can buy from your friends and pay 1,000 times the price.
Aldi's.
Aldi.
Is there an Aldi's around here?
Why, Cliff, are you sheltered up in Nashua?
Oh, up in Nashua. Okay. I was going to say,
I have a
out of
vehicle. I
state.
travel. But, Market Basket still has the best prices no matter where you go.
That's true.
So, but you have to shop is my point.
Yeah.
I mean,
You do.
don't.
when you buy a car, you have to
don't.
shop. But you're right, there is a disconnect when you're spending federal money on some grant.
No, it's city money, tax money.
Okay.
And then next week, Golden will say, we ran out of money again. We got to put the taxes up on all the Lowellians. Tommy, with all the federal money, state money, Lowell gets, sorry to use this term, the city of Lowell power pisses through all that money, hiring their friends. If you want a good laugh today, get on to City Hall at 11:45 and watch the building like there's a bomb inside at noontime.
But we all have to eat, right, Cliff?
We do. So, the one thing that I took, two things, was from the city council meeting Tuesday. They announced they're going to put a 24-inch water main across the New York Bridge to service the Highlands. I thought that was good.
I think it's excellent.
Yeah. And there's a subtle push on environment from people talking. Norma Van Fricken addressed the council on waste disposal and the impact on the environment. I'm trying to get Sarah Singh to come on and talk about the environment and disposal.
Two short ones. Imagine if Lowell High offered some of the same programs they offer at the Voc. Not everyone goes to college, whether it's free or not. Interesting comment. Last comment of the day, Bill Clinton and Newt Gingrich passed 2 balanced budgets in a row. The only time in history and the last time both sides worked together. Very interesting.
Interesting.
I'm not sure it's the only time in history, but yes.
I must say that
Recent
Kennedy
history.
really pushed that bridge
Yeah.
very nicely. I mean, we're going to see construction in the next year.
Now,
I
will
mean,
you resign
physical.
if that doesn't happen? Will you resign if that doesn't happen?
Will I resign?
If it doesn't happen?
I'm just going on the reports that are coming out.
I understand. I don't believe it.
You don't think they're actually going to start construction? They got the funding. I'm just telling you what I've read in the local.
It's not the Greater Lowell School Committee's job, John. He should not resign. You should resign.
Ralph,
I understand what you're saying.
we have built Since the Rourke Bridge,
Went out.
the used Rourke Bridge that came up from Connecticut, it's used, it's not brand spanking new, it's a used bridge came from Connecticut. Since that's been in place, we've replaced a lot of overpass. We built the courthouse that doesn't match anything in the city of Lowell with a big round of applause because it's a job mecca. We replaced the bridge that goes to UMass. All these things got replaced. What about the Rourke Bridge? I don't believe them.
I'm just going by what I'm reading, that Laurie Trahan has secured federal money to do it. And with the federal money, the state money, it's within the next year, you'll see construction. That's what I'm being
With
informed.
the collapse of California, Los Angeles is going to be screaming they need money. The real estate taxes that they would charge for those $100 million homes that just burned down, they're not going to get that real estate tax.
You make a good point. And, you know, the stuff that's starting to come out about California is they don't even have a good maintenance program to
No.
stop these fires from taking off.
That's
Well,
true.
What are we doing about the
And that's
Drake
government.
What are we doing about the Drake State Forest?
There's no fires out there, not like that. There are fire trails
When was the
out
last time
there.
we cleaned the brush out of Drake State Forest? Can we say never?
The fire crew goes out there every year,
Oh, that's news to me. Thank you for letting me know. Which fire crew goes out there? Al?
the state.
Never knew that. Thank you.
Break. Ralph, are you up for election this year?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Are you going to run for any city office just to keep your dance card filled?
My dance card is very full. My bride is talking about retirement, and the honeydew list is getting longer and longer.
Say goodbye, kids.
I sympathize with that. Ralph, thanks for coming in. I
Always a
appreciate
pleasure,
it.
my good man. Always a pleasure.
Have a good weekend. We'll see
John,
you-
I like the tie.
Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow. We'll see you next time.